Yeah. Yeah. Turn that shit up. Can I hear that shit? That's what I'm talking about, because you already know anytime I come in this motherfucker, I need to be.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are now tuning to Conversations with Rip. Today's guest is comedian Alabama. How you doing today, sir?
I'm doing good, man. Thanks for having me on here, bro.
Man, I appreciate you for coming on to the platform. For those who may not know, this brother here is one of the openers at the Baltimore Comedy Factory, if not the opener. Pretty much comes in, sets the tone for the show. And in my 2-year experience watching shows, man, he's one of the best at what he does, man. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good, man. I'm good, man. I appreciate those words, because setting the tone for shows, it's like a movie. That first 5-10 minutes of a movie is either gonna get you engaged, or you're gonna be like, you're not gonna feel it throughout the show. So I appreciate that, man.
No, seriously, man. It's hard knowing that you got to get that crowd warmed up. And Baltimore, we could be a tough crowd, but the way you get up there is so comfortable and easy, and just going with the flow. That takes time. It takes preparation, and it goes to show that you put in a lot of work into your craft and what you do. How long have you been doing stand-up?
I started stand-up officially. I kind of don't count the open mic, but June of 2001, I went to my first open mic. I did pretty okay. This guy invited me to another open mic the following weekend. And hey, dog, I got the bug, and I started doing it. I came from Alabama, and before I left Alabama, Comic View was looking for comedians. This was in '99, so I sent them a VHS tape. Listen now, VHS tape of me doing stand-up. I never done stand-up before, man. I ain't know what I was doing. I can only go by what I have seen. So I went up there, I invited like 10 of my friends to this little room, little studio. Right. And I told one joke. Took me about 8 minutes to tell one joke. And I sent that to Comic View. And in between time, I transitioned. I moved from Talladega, Alabama to Baltimore, Maryland. And at that time, they sent me an email, say, hey, unfortunately, you wasn't chosen, but they also gave me notes. They gave me ways to strategize. Segue my jokes, and I really appreciate that. So, but that was my start.
Man, that was my start. So what was comedy like back at Talladega, Alabama? What was the comedy scene back there, back at home?
It wasn't anything. Comedy, we got our comedy from playing spades at the table. But the comedy scene, only thing we had you had Ricky Smiley at the time, was still over in Birmingham. Roy Wood Jr. Was always in Birmingham. But I myself was a big comedy fan. So I was fortunate enough to, during those times, I got to see Bernie Mac. I got to see Michael Collier. I got to see Earthquake, a lot of those guys, and watch them. And I'm a fan. I'm still a fan now, but got to watch those, and I love that, man. Those the Bernie Macs, the Robin Harris, the ones that make you feel like they real and genuine. Earthquake, I love that. And I said, I want to be like that. I want to be a comedian where people walk into their car and they still laughing at something I said.
Well, you definitely do that down at the Baltimore Comedy Factory.
Right.
And just to think that you've been doing this since 2001, explain, your whole experience being down there at the Baltimore Comedy Factory. And for those who may not know, it used to be at a different location. If I'm not mistaken, it was down there by like the power plant, right?
It had been at three different locations since I've been involved. Okay. It was at Burke's upstairs, if people remember Burke's, right there on Light and Lombard. It's a Royal Farms now. Okay. And then we moved to the power plant. We moved to the power plant inside they used to call it the old fish market, I heard. And then right now we're inside the Best Western Plus. It's out on O'Donnell Street. So, like I was telling you off camera, a black lady used to run the Baltimore Comedy Factory, and she's the one who first hired me as a comedian to work a comedy club. You know, and that's very important. You know, we can go out here and do, you could do comedy at Melba's or all these other local places or Hole in the Wall in your local area. But to get into a comedy club, that's a good thing on your resume. You have to build up that resume. But I also did behind the scene things with the Comedy Factory as far as booking talent and also some promotional stuff.
Okay, so you're a man of many talents. You don't just open up shows. It's a lot of things that are going behind the scenes, huh?
Go behind the scenes and try to keep different streams of income, because this is all live. Last time I worked a 9 to 5, bro, was probably 2002. So we talking about almost 20 years. Now it has been the ups and downs. It has its flows because, you know, this comedy, we don't have no union. There's no 401k. You got to make your own 401k. You might have $401, but you ain't got no 401k.
Right.
So most definitely is a skill that I have been fortunate to have, that was given to me by the grace of God, that I want to most definitely share and, make people laugh. I love it.
So let me ask you this. How was it when you got your first big moment at the Baltimore Comedy Factory? Do you remember being on stage? You know, you get a little nervous. You know, how was that going through that experience?
Well, there was a lot of guys coming through the Baltimore Comedy Factory when I started working there. Michael Blackson at the time, the Joe Clares, different comedians in the area that you always seen on TV and on Comedy View. And I remember one night, I think it was my first year doing comedy. They had a Def Jam night, Thursday night, 300 people, black. We talking about blackity black. Hard, all of Baltimore, from Park Heights to Cherry Hill was in that room. And they had a Comedy View comedian at the time, Kevin Anthony. He's from DC. Shout out to Kevin Anthony. Kevin Anthony is a veteran comedian, killed it. And I had to go up behind him. And that was my moment, that when I went up behind him and do my 6 or 7 minutes and people loved me and clapped for me just as much as they did him, I knew I was doing something right, because that's when you get tested, when you have to go behind somebody who just destroyed.
Whew.
So,
you remember the first joke you said when you went on that stage to break the ice?
I told, shoot. Man,
you got some good jokes. You know what I'm saying?
That's a good question. We talking about 2000. I don't remember the first joke. I used to tell a lot of Alabama redneck jokes, to be honest with you, man. And people loved it. You know, I used to tell about how slow Alabama was. Like, we don't know why people remember 9/11. We ain't find out to the 13th. You know, and that's what got us. You know, that what got us. So that was probably one of my first bits. And people like, oh, I like them. You know, but at the time, I just got up here. My accent was deeper than it is now, as far as a Southern accent. And people used to come up to me after the show and be like, "Man, you was funny. We didn't understand what you said, but you were funny."
No, that's funny because I actually have a homeboy. He's one of my closest friends. I met back in like 2003. He moved down here from like Mobile. So it's funny how, you know, the accent. Yeah.
No Mobile, boy. Them some big boys down Mobile. I'm telling you.
Yeah, man. But, you know, the accent was always something that, you know, struck people at all. They would always stop and talk to him because, you know, the accent, man. It's like a lot of people, you know, they're not good at just attracting attention or being open. But as soon as he would open his mouth, man, people would just gravitate right to, man, where you from? And then Alabama.
They want to hear that. They want to hear you. Yeah. And then they think they can get over you too because you talk slow. They think you're dumb.
Man, you know, you don't get flack from people at home when you make them type jokes, man. They don't be your family be like, come on, man, take it easy on us, man. You know,
yeah, they already know, bro. They already know. The family don't care. Long as you making money and giving it to them, they don't care. They could be like, you know, I remember my mom like, don't be talking about us on stage. And then I show her how much I made from a show. She was like, go ahead, baby. You can talk about. I said, yeah, I bet now. So, you know, but I try to be cautious when it comes to talk about people because, as you know, I don't know if you're talking about it, you know, people are getting more sensitive in the world.
We gonna talk about it. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna talk about it. But I have to ask you, what was that moment for you when you knew exactly that, this is what you wanted to do, this was your calling? When was that moment?
It was off stage. It was off stage, and I live in it can be called a sketch area. In Baltimore, they put the good neighborhoods next to the bad neighborhoods. They're just right there. So I was walking to the gas station one day, and this guy had stopped me, and he said, "Hey man, you a comedian?" And I was like, at first I was like, no, I get that all the time, messing with him. Then I finally told him, yeah, I'm a comedian. So this guy looked like he's a, substance abuser or was. And he said, man, I was having a rough day one day, and my lady brought me down there to the comedy club, and you went up there, and man, you made me forget about everything that was going bad in my life. That right then let me know that I was doing what I was supposed to do. That part right there. That part, monetary stuff is great, but that part right there let you know, hey, you're doing this, you're doing it the right way and for the right reasons.
Yeah, that was your moment. I know when it comes to comedy, like the way I was introduced to it, of course, I was a kid watching a lot of those platforms that you were talking about, Comic View, Def Comedy Jam. That was kind of like the thing back then, right? In the 90s and early 2000s. These were the different platforms, right? But when we fast forward to, when COVID happened, a lot of things shut down. A lot of people were stuck at home. And comedy was that outlet, to help bring us back to normalcy. I know for me, I had to figure out what I was going to do. I had never been to a comedy show before. There were some dates I had went to. And, from that moment, this is going on 2 years now, just going to comedy shows, going in person. And like I said, it's been a pleasure just seeing you open up shows because, like you said, it's a responsibility in regards to knowing that, you take the pressure and the hardship off people's everyday life. So, you put that on your shoulders and you task yourself with that. Make sure you bring, your best work, bring your A game. So, to see people, you make it look easy. And that's the thing about you. That's what make you real good, because you make it look so effortless the way you do what you do, man.
Well, what I try to do is understand that there is a responsibility, and we are the people that come to the show. We are a good time. That's important. We are a good time. So when somebody asks them, I went to a comedy show, how did you enjoy it? If they say I had a good time, that let me know that the comedians, not only myself, but the other comedians, took upon responsibility to learn their craft and put their skills out there. But every day, bro, I wake up with an attitude of gratitude and have humility to what I'm doing, and understand that these gifts or skills, they was given to me by the grace of God. So why should I keep people from receiving that? And during COVID, we didn't even know what was going. Comedians, we was doing anything. Bro. I mean, I thought about, comedy clubs might not open back up. What I'm going to do? Like, this is the only thing I do. So I started looking into being a mime. I'm going to start doing mime work. I was going to have T-shirts that says "Mime Your Business."
Right.
I was prepared.
Yo, crazy.
I started to look at online minister, all that stuff, prepaid legal. Hey, man, it was going to get rough out here. We started the Zoom shows, which I didn't care too much for those. I didn't care too much for those. It's not the same feel, but I'm glad people are getting back out. Still stuff out there in the air. Now it seems like COVID. You hear about somebody got COVID, people looking at you like, people still get that, like it's polio.
Yo, it's madness. And like I said, I think for me and my perspective, 2 years of this, of just with the mask, sitting at home, being isolated. I mean, it was good because, for some people, they got a chance to, work on themselves, I hope, right?
Did you come when we opened back up in the Comedy Factory? We had a plexiglass up on stage. Did you ever come? Yo,
no, sir.
We had a plexiglass when we opened back up for a few months. We had a plexiglass on stage. We were like, you know, we was at a bodega or corner store, telling jokes behind it.
Hey, yo, that's crap. I'm sitting there like this is like gladiator comedy. Like what is
Right.
this?
I'm up here telling jokes and people up there knocking on asking for loose cigarettes. You know,
Hey.
can I get a loose? I'm like, this ain't the corner store.
Oh, so you know that whole experience, you know, as a comedian, man, how did that feel knowing like there was some, you know, new changes and adjustments that needed to be made in regards to like you just sat here and told me how it felt uncomfortable. Well, not uncomfortable, but more so it didn't feel the same on a Skype or a virtual call doing jokes. Like you had to be in person. Talk about the importance of just being there and getting that energy in person, man.
Oh, the energy is very important. That's why sometimes you might hear the DJ or you might hear the host say, the energy you give is the energy you get back. And comedians need instant gratification. That's why we want y'all to clap right then. Zoom, Skype, you gotta wait till emojis pop up. You know, how do you know you're doing well? You know, and we don't have those things to gauge how we doing. You know, are we doing good or people laughing or, you know, things like that. So that became very challenging. I did like 2 or 3 of them during the pandemic, but it was something that I most definitely wouldn't recommend.
Now, listen, it was kind of like, you know, a lot of the virtual performances, you know, it was some good things that, you know, were created like Versus and other platforms. But for the most part, you know, watching a concert, you know what I'm saying, watching a comedy show, you know, on a live stream is very different than being in person. So for those who've never been to a comedy show, I encourage y'all to go so y'all can see, man. The energy is much different. You get to feel the energy from the people and, you know, you feel like a family.
It's very much different. That's like that in other genres too. Like, I'm not big on rock music, but I went to a rock concert and I loved it. I loved it. It's just so different. You more engaged with the audience. You can comedian can see something and talk about what he sees right there in front. In Zoom, you can't do that. You know, you can talk about somebody's background. You can see, like you said, Dr. Umar. When he panned that house around. Yeah, I caught that. But yeah.
You're good. You caught me on that one. I'm pretty good.
Yeah, I caught that. Dr. Umar would wish. He wishes.
Donations.
Donation. Give me your Quaker Oats money.
Well, you know, we talked about the good of being around the people in the venues, right? Just having that energy, right? Getting that reward, right? That you get on the inside knowing that, okay, this is what I'm supposed to do. But let's talk about the flip side, right? A lot of comedians have to deal with hecklers. I remember being at a show where a couple people spoke out on stage and you handled it so beautifully well. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you incorporate them into the bit, you know, go into, you know, what is the mindset of a comedian when they're being heckled? You know what I mean? How do you know to, you know, snap back or ignore? Like, what is the thought process behind that?
You have different levels of hecklers. There's different levels. You have a heckler who they really enjoying you, but they just loud. Or the ones that like, you know, just repeat what you're saying. Those type of hecklers. Then you have a heckler who just call out and stuff like for instance, due to the fact at the Comedy Factory, people familiar with me. So they don't know me, but they feel comfortable enough thinking they can yell out something or anything like that. I don't encourage people yelling out, but sometimes I want people to yell out because I want you, you know, I want to get your ass. I want to get somebody. Like I go into on stage. Some days I go into, you know, I wish a mofo would say something today. Right. I'm ready for it. But you know, that keeps me on my game. You know, if you don't have practice or something, you don't know. Now, I'm not saying that I'm wishing people yell out all the time or disturb people, but, you know, I know how to go at it and try to go at it where about I can make the audience audience laugh and make the other person shut the fuck up. You feel what I'm saying? That's your whole point. And you know, there's a fine line. When you're going against a female heckler is the toughest. Because you can get into her, but you go too much, then the audience will turn into you. Or if you say the wrong, you know, if you get to a point where she make you want to say something, call out her name, then you have to deal with that type of stuff. But whatever I say, don't you run up on that damn stage.
I was getting ready to say, with this recent trend of people running up on stage, man, you know, what are your thoughts about it? It seems as if a lot of comedians are now having to start this campaign where, you know, they have to warn the audience, hey, don't come up here because you're going to get nominated with these hands. I mean, talk about that from a comedian's perspective, man.
Well, Chris Rock and the Will Smith thing, and then the recent, you know, just to follow up, you know, not too long later with the Chappelle thing, you know, those are two different incidents. I don't want to call it being sensationalized or call it a trend.
Right.
It does happen. It does happen, but I know you most likely go see a comedian slap another comedian than the audience member, to be honest with you. Right. You're most likely to see that. That's crazy. People shouldn't do that. You know, people like Chappelle got protection. I'm surprised that guy even got that close to him.
Man, you talking about mangled. I thought I was watching Tales from the Crypt the way they had him on the ground like that, like, son.
Exactly. They stomped him, made him a Mr. Potato Head.
Hey, yeah.
So, but what about the venues where, you know, not as many people? It can be a venue where it could be like 40 people, somebody performing, and somebody go back and forth. We see it all the time in the comedy world. In the local comedy world, you know, they might deal with a heckler. Somebody might not agree with you and don't think you funny, but if you don't think someone's funny, you know, leave or don't come out. You know, if you can't take some, you know, leave. I never had nobody come up on stage on me, but if somebody decide to, I probably will take that microphone stand and I'm gonna swing like motherfucking Hank Aaron, and hopefully, you know, secure to get to the part. We had recently at the club, we had a guy. We had Orlando Jones. Shout out to Orlando Jones from Mad TV. And he had a guy try to come up towards stage and heckle him also. So
what day was that? Because I went to the Sunday show. What day was that?
Not Sunday, it was the Friday show. Some guy walked up toward the stage and told him to wrap it up. You know, he should wrap it up. And Orlando Jones said, you know, I should wrap this cord around your neck. Now, this was going on during the show. The Friday 10:30 shows are the tester for any comedian who ever decides to do comedy. If you think you good, perform on Friday, Baltimore Comedy Factory 10:30 show.
Wow.
That lets you know where you at.
Wow. And he did a good show. You know what I mean? Like, once I seen his name. Yes, he did. He did phenomenal. And shout out Ty Davis too, because she opened up as well. She did phenomenal as well.
Shout out to Ty and stuff like that. And to be, you know, just to be transparent on everything, you know, to follow a performance like me and Ty, then you gotta take it up the next level. You can't bring it down. So, you know, that was our first time, me and Ty working with Orlando Jones. That was his first time here in Baltimore Comedy Factory. So shout outs to him, man. Shout
out. Well, let me ask you this. Moving forward, right? Because I agree with you. I don't think it's a trend. Because if anything, things like this was happening before the whole incident with Will and Chris Rock, right? It was happening before the day. It's, you know, it's kind of like an isolated incident. Believe it or not, each incident is on its own. It even happens in sports leagues, things of that nature. But, you know, what are your thoughts on like venues? Do you feel like they need to step up in regards to having security, protecting the acts on stage, you know?
Oh, yes. You most definitely should have people on the stage. DL Hewlett has his guy standing right there on the stage, by the stage. You probably didn't see it. Well, you left the show. But People like that. That's another story. That's off camera talk. But
right.
But some guys travel with their own security, people they can trust, and they'll stand right there by the stage side of the stage. This was even before the wheel problem. I know Gary Owens had a guy, but Gary Owens was for a different reason. His wife was trying to serve him papers, so so he had we had to have security at the club stand beside the stage just to make sure nobody tried to serve him.
Wow.
Oh, it's not a game, man.
That was in the middle of this performance. Excuse me, y'all. Hold on.
Yes, that when they be funny, they be like, excuse me, sir, are you Gary Owens? I was like, yeah, you see him on the fly.
Yo, that's crazy.
Venues most definitely need to be engaged of that, no matter what size the audience. You can have 400 people or you can have 40 people. It don't take but one.
Wow.
It don't take but one.
I just hope it don't get to that point, man.
I hate to be, tell my comedians to be scrap on stage, but if it gets to that, stay scrap.
That's what I'm hoping that, it doesn't get to that point.
Yeah, turn that shit up. Can I hear that shit? That's what I'm talking about, because you already know, anytime I come in this motherfucker, I need to be.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is the part 2 of the interview with comedian Alabama. Listen, man, we was just talking about, wild moments, just comedians being in situations where audience members run up on stage, right? I think in the past, I've seen videos of comedians, being attacked on stage. And it's not like, because I noticed that the trend, like you said, was as if this was a domino effect of what happened with Chris Rock and Will Smith, with that whole incident. But man, that's crazy to think that you just talked about the incident with Gary Owens. I mean, what are some of your, wildest, crazy moments, man, working at the Baltimore Comedy Factory?
Oh, at the factory, shoot. Some stuff don't even have nothing to do with comedy. There have been some moments where I seen audience member, this one woman had to piss so bad, she just pissed right there in the trash can in the showroom.
What?
That peed right there. There has been a point where I have called the comedian name and she didn't come from the back. Like, give it up for Miss So-and-so. Give it up for Miss So-and-so. Hello.
What?
She got so nervous she didn't come out.
Man.
She didn't come out. So there has been some moments. There have been some great moments. Been a chance to work with Paul Mooney and Dick Gregory.
What?
Rest in peace to both of them.
Yes.
Man. There was a time where I was in the room, just me, Paul Mooney, and Dick Gregory. I ain't say one word. I ain't say one word, man. And of course, rest in peace, Charlie Murphy. He was a great guy. His stories that he did on Chappelle, I see why, because that was him. So I had some wild and great moments. You know what I'm saying? Most of the wild moments is off stage.
Right. So why didn't you speak when you was in the room with Paul Mooney and brother Dick Gregory? Why was you so quiet?
That's 1,000 years of comedy.
Right.
What the fuck? I'm gonna add. So they always say you got 2 ears and 1 mouth. So been around those guys and getting praise from them. That was remarkable. That's some remarkable thing. And been around a lot of great guys. Got my man Mark Curry coming up soon. Me and Mark Curry had a moment where, we going out there, had a smoke break. We had a smoke break.
Right.
Hanging with Mr. Cooper.
Mm-hmm.
And I happened the police car just happened to pull up. Just right there. Just, he wasn't really messing with us or anything like that. But Mark Curry seen that. He ran into the hotel, ran into the freezer. There was people on the camera. Security looking at the camera said, "Is that Mark Curry in the freezer?"
Wow.
I said, "Mark, you got warrants or something, man?" Yeah, he ain't gonna arrest us for no little ass joint. So that was a wild moment.
Wow, that's crazy.
Mark Curry gonna be at the Comedy Factory, by the way.
Listen, I bought the tickets before, and he wound up postponing. Something came up, and
he's on the Cat Williams tour.
Okay. Well, I'll be there.
Hey, I'm saying, that's like I tell people. Hey, I'll do your show, but hey, if Spike Lee called me, I might not be there.
That's a good point. Now talk about a time. I'm sure it's happened, right? As comedians, you have your highs and your lows. Talk about a time when, is there ever a moment where you bombed, where, just material wasn't hitting, you just wasn't connecting with the audience?
I could just name like one time where it was probably like maybe my first couple of months doing comedy. I was at this place called Bill Dotson's out Glen Burnie, Maryland area. And at the time I was married and my wife was very involved. She was supportive. Well, she's my ex-wife now, but at the time she was very supportive, supportive of what I was trying to do. And so I went upstage. Coco Brown actually was the host of it. She was hosting it. And I went up there and, started off, they was little chuckles and stuff like that. And then it got talkative. Now, I've never been booed, knock on wood. But when people start getting, I say like this, when they boo you, at least they listening.
Right.
They know you something. When they get chatty, start having conversations with themselves, or start just staring at you like this, that's worse. So they got a little chatty. And I was still going through my act, and this one guy was in there. He had one of those heckling laughs. One of those, like I told you, it's different levels of hecklers. They had, and they got real talkative. And all of a sudden, my wife, 4 feet tall, stood up in the back in front of like 250 people probably. If y'all shut the fuck up, y'all can hear some jokes. And I said, "Good night."
Hey, yeah.
Good night, and walked off stage. And we had a little disagreement on the drive back home, but look back on it, she had my back.
Right.
But that's one of the moments I always go back to where I learned a lesson is, always go out there, hit them in the mouth early, and leave your wife at home.
Yo, wow. That was good.
So,
well, sitting there looking, researching you on YouTube, man, I was trying to find a lot of material, and I have to ask you, have you ever done any, stand-up specials or anything like that?
I haven't done any specials. I have filmed some 30-minute, I call 30-minute showcases. I don't put much on YouTube because I don't want people steal my stuff, man. People steal your stuff. Especially, I'm working with a lot of guys who, I travel myself, but I'm working with a lot of comedians, girls and guys that travel. And, who to say they're not saying my stuff in Ohio or in LA, So, just to use the example, this is my real, we cool too, like a Marlon Wayans or someone like that, or Country Wayne. These guys are very, funny guys, and props to them. But what will keep them from taking my stuff and then if I like debate about it, that's Marlon Wayans. That's Country Wayne, or that's D.L. Hughley, or whoever. I don't want to go through that. That's when comedians start getting slapped.
So that happens.
Oh, yes.
Wow.
Yes. I get to see them all, bro. I get to see them all. I know who doing what. And then, some comedians, they've been saying the same material for 20 years.
Right. I've noticed that. And that's the funny thing, because I've been watching comedy since I was young. When you're a kid, man, you just soak up a lot of information, like a sponge. And a lot of the comedians that I would see, I would already know their bits. You know what I'm saying? You already know what they're coming with, some of them. And things have changed now because of social media, right? You notice a lot of comedians are like, hey, no phones, no none of that, because I don't want to spoil, the experience for the next audience or the next show. You know what I mean?
The experience, and then also them the ones that be stealing.
Oh shit!
They don't want nobody else to see. The thing is, watch a comedian with other comics in the room. That's the thing. When other comedians are in the room, that's what happened.
Wow.
And some comedians, when you up there talking about you smoking weed, and I have never ever seen you smoke or heard you smoking, or you don't participate in that, then what you talking about? Are you telling somebody else's story? That's like me. I grew up in a Jehovah's Witness household. I ain't grow up going to church. So if I get up there talking about growing up in a church, that's phony. Because I didn't grow up in a church.
Right.
I don't know gospel songs. Now, even to the day, I know who Kirk Franklin is.
I was going to say Kirk Franklin don't count.
I mean, I know who Shirley Caesar is and Hezekiah Walker. I know the names, but you couldn't tell me a song they sung. I don't know.
That's my first go-to, Kirk Franklin. Nigga asked me about gospel.
And to some people, that's not gospel. That's something else. That he's the equivalent of how comedy, you got stand-up comedies, then you got social media comedians, IG comedians.
Wow. You know what?
They look at Kirk Franklin like an IG. Kirk Franklin is IG.
Wow. I'm glad you said that, because I was getting ready to ask you that question, man. What are your thoughts on social media comedians now transitioning over to stand-up? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
I think they're being pressured. I think they're being pressured into doing. A question was raised to me is, do people recognize a person as a comedian if they don't do stand-up? And that's a good question. We don't. Most people don't. You can have comedic actors. Anthony Anderson, he's a comedic actor to me, but he's not a stand-up. So I think some of them are pressured into doing stand-up when they I have nothing against what they're doing. As long as you get more comedy content out there, that's good for all comedy in some parts. But also, if that's not your thing, then, IG comedians, they get to do those sketches over and over and over again until they get it right. You don't get that on stage. You don't have that fallout where you can tell a joke and be like, you know what? Let's do this over. You can't do that.
You're right. But that's the conflict of it all, because those same skits is what got them that fame and notoriety.
That same skits got them same skits got them booked at the club.
There you go.
But once they get on stage, you what happens? You have to go through a cycle. Like somebody can get booked at a club because they funny sketches, they got all these followers, but they're not funny on stage. So they're gonna go do their rounds for about 10 months to 13 months, and then that's when people catch up and be like, you know what? They're not funny. Sometimes it takes a cycle. But hey, I don't blame the comedians. Hey, somebody gonna offer you money, they gonna take it. Somebody say I want to give you a weekend, and you really not ready to do a weekend, They still gonna take it. Nobody gonna be like, well, I don't think I'm ready yet, because you might not get that opportunity again, especially as a Black comedian.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
We don't get much leeway. We get that one shot. Don't fuck it up. And if you fuck it up, you fucking it up for everybody else too. You not knowing it, but you are.
Now, has there been something that you've actually been impressed with? You know what I mean? Watching that stand-up live that you really think has a shot at doing this, stepping into the lane that, the stand-up comedian's been in?
One of the IG comedians?
Yeah.
Well, he does his sketches. I'm impressed with kind of how Country Wayne, he's at least trying to learn his craft and the skill of it. I saw him when he first started doing stand-up. I was like, he's the funny guy, back during the Def Jam era, because he does the music and does all that stuff. And but that's a question. A comedian asked me just recently, is there any comedian out of these new breeds that's coming out that you would pay to go see? And I haven't gave him an answer yet. And it's been 3 weeks.
Wow.
I don't know.
Wow.
I don't I don't know, but a lot of them, I love. I know personally that's very good, genuine people. Jess Hilarious always been a cool person, with me. Like I said, the Country Wayne, and you got Desi Banks. So those are good people. They're nice people.
No, I mean, I had to ask you that because I've asked comedians before, right? And we can flip it, right? We can now talk about, recently with T.I., right now trying out stand up. I know in the past Godfrey said some things because he wanted people to understand that, in order for you to be successful, you got to at least put in 10 on that stage, 10 years for you to even get the acknowledgement. You know what I'm saying? So for people to think that this is just a quick bag to get me jump in this lane, tell these jokes. It's not like that. Like, what are your thoughts on the whole T.I. thing? Because when he came to Baltimore, he did pretty good.
Check him out. I got to check him out.
Okay, okay.
He didn't get booed. I mean, that's what you can say. I went to one show and they didn't boo him. He wasn't. He didn't have them falling out their seats or anything. I didn't even expect that. I just wanted to see how his cadence was, or how, I'm as a comedian, I'm looking at different things, I'm not even really looking to see if they laughing or not, But with T.I., the thing with him, he's been successful in one genre, and he's probably going to be hard person who want to listen to others. Because in this comedy thing, you can be liked by the audience, but you want to be respected by your peers. That's the thing. You want the audience to love you, and that's very important. That's who's gonna put you on. But you want to be respected by your peers into a thing that you come into you don't know nothing about, not at all, and you got to listen, and I just hear that he's not a good listener.
Okay.
So and it takes years to get seasoned and to be able to handle any type of room. Like, I started in different rooms. I started where I have been in rooms where it's been all white. I've been in a room that's been all black. I've been in the room where it's niggers. I've been in a room where it's crackers. I've been in a room where it's rednecks, Jews, things like that. You got to be able to be funny. Sometimes they say stuff not funny unless you can relate to it. Funny is funny, but sometimes you have to be able to relate, and you have to find that connection. So that takes years. That takes seasoning. That takes not having bad habits by watching others who might have bad habits. I think we should do more teaching, because these people got million followers or they got all this like that and they popular, that don't mean they doing the right thing or doing it the right way. You know. So
that's true. That's very true. What are your thoughts on the future of stand-up comedy, right? I know for me growing up, there was a lot of platforms where, you know, comedians can go showcase their talent. Now I don't really know too many. Of course, you know, got All Def Digital. They kind of do their own thing over there in regards to creating their own platform. But like, what are your thoughts on the future of comedy moving forward? Do you think more forums will be pushed to the forefront in hopes to just showcase, you know, more of the comedians with talent?
As far as stand up,
yeah.
I think stand up is a thriving thing, and I remember when I started in early 2000, stand up was kind of coming back. You know, it took a drop in the late 90s. You know, after the Def Jam era, then you had the Comic View, and then after that, it was just like, you know, stand up wasn't thriving. Then, you know, Comedy Central, that's all they used to be. Comedy Central then used to be nothing but stand-up specials. Then you got Netflix specials. I think some things, at some point, some things got watered down a little bit. It seemed like everybody got a Netflix special. You know, it became like who you know, politics. Politics got more to stand-up. And if we can get the politics out, man, there could be a lot more funny people out there that people can recognize, including myself. Now, I'm not saying that politics is involved, or I love what I do. You know what I'm saying? If I never tell a joke again, I have accomplished many goals that I set to achieve. I have many more that I want to achieve, like, you know, doing radio, movie, TV type things. But also, I want to be not underappreciate what I have gotten so far.
Okay. I was going to say, you know, where do you see yourself within the next 5-10 years in regards to, you know, your career and where you want to see yourself?
Hopefully next 10 years I'll be on the island somewhere sipping on something, not doing any jokes because I don't want to scratch offs.
Hey,
I most definitely see myself doing the radio, movie. I want to do voiceovers. I would love to be the new voice of the First 48. I know that sounds crazy, but I always wanted to, you know, say Pork and Bean Projects in Miami. You know, I always wanted to do that. Or I could be like Park Heights, Baltimore. You know,
that's funny. Hey, y'all better cut the check, man. Y'all better cut the check, get some ratings,
check, man. But also just getting better, getting funnier. Never be stale. Keep my stuff fresh. Even if there's something that I have said before, I say it in a fresher way. You know, so you know, I'm willing to take on that, man, and I'm looking forward to it. I look very forward to it.
Man, I look forward to seeing what's next for you. Like I said, you do an amazing job down there at the Baltimore Comedy Factory, man. They should be honored to have you up there doing what you do.
Last couple of years after coming out of COVID, I actually have been on the road some. So that's one of the things that I most definitely want to do once everything starts opening up. So I got a show coming up in Cambridge, Maryland on this Saturday, the 21st. And I got some things coming up where July 8th, I'll be opening up for EU, the band EU.
Okay.
I'll be down in North Carolina, open up for some bands, Drew Hill, they reunion. So, man, I got a lot of great things coming out on the road. And, of course, at the Comedy Factory, I have a big show with my man June 26th with Slink Johnson, a.k.a. Black Jesus.
Right.
And that should go on the website this week. So I want everybody to come out there and check it out, man. And if you know, your listeners out here, you can follow me at Comedian Alabama on IG, at Comedian Alabama. That's on IG.
Listen, man, y'all make sure to support this brother. Very talented. Before I let you go, you know, you've been here in Baltimore. almost over 20 years now. So
Yeah.
You know, what are some of your favorite moments about the city of Baltimore, man, that got you sitting here for 20 years, man?
Oh man, being able to walk out my door on Garrison and buy a trick, that's remarkable. I never experienced anything like that. I could just walk out my house and be like, hey, come get this $40 or whatever. And you know what though? Baltimore has people always try to put that crab in the barrel type joint, usually with Baltimore. But I always like, we don't own the bucket.
Mm.
They got very talented people here. And I got a chance to make some great relationships. And one of the things I want people to get out of is that we do have the talent here besides, shooting somebody or stabbing somebody. There are things that in this city can help thrive, whether entertainment or in life. We just have to do it together, though, man. You try to do stuff by yourself, it doesn't work. And this is a city that fucks with you. If they like you, I like that. When somebody comes through me and be like, "Bam, I fucks with you," that's how they talking about. I fucks with you. Yeah, that's terms of endearment. So, I can't wait till somebody call me a dummy. That let me know I made it.
Hey, at this point, man, you starting to have an accent. I don't know why you trying to add extra like you ain't got the use and all that.
I just use it to say that part right there. Shout out to Monique also.
Yes.
She has an Oscar. Remember that, more people. She has an Oscar.
Yeah. That's facts. No, I'm just glad that you're a part of the story, right? Of Baltimore, just coming here and creating something for yourself.
I think so, man. I wasn't born or raised. Well, I was sort of raised because I was like 26, 27 when I moved up here. So I'm not going to compare myself to all the legendary people, that I know, Reggie Reg and the K-Swifts and Miss Tony, all the personalities that was here in Baltimore that people know in Baltimore. But, maybe one day I can be right there. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, ain't no one day, sir. We here 20 years and moving, 20 years and counting. Okay, I'm 31. I'm 31. So, sir, you put in that time. You put in that work, man.
So I'll take my flowers now then, bro. I'll take those flowers.
Real shit, man. You earned that because, again, we talked about it before with just, being able to please certain crowds in Baltimore. When you're a part of this environment, man, we treat you like family. And like I said, it's always been a pleasure being. When I see you up there, I'm like, all right, bet. We know what type of show we're going to get, man. So,
and the thing I do take that I respect about Baltimore audience is they're not going to let you get away with that bullshit. And when I go other places, it's a breeze. When I go other places to perform, due to the fact I came up in Baltimore, those places ain't no way. Those are easy. They're easy peasy. Because I have came up in an environment where and have taught myself, people ain't going for that bullshit. So I thank Baltimore for that. The Baltimore comedy artists. Appreciate that.
Man, shout out to the city for real. Yeah, well, I gotta ask you one last thing. This really gonna dictate if you're from the town or not, if you're from the city or not, man. Who got the best chicken boxes in Baltimore, man? You've been here long enough. Don't duck the smoke. You've been here long enough. Who got the best ones? Man?
People gonna be upset with this, but I gotta go with hip hop due to the fact they got that crack on it. I know you got your Kennedy Fried Chicken. I don't count Royal Farms. Royal Farms for the bougie people.
Right.
That's the bougie. But Chicken Box, I tell you this. When I first moved up here, Edmondson Village, Brian's Kitchen.
Okay.
I think it's burnt down now. I got a chicken box and a half and half. I didn't know what a half and half was.
You know now.
That I'm gonna go, but hip hop, that seasoning. I'm not gonna say too much because they're not sponsoring this show. So
that's a fact. That is a double fact. You ain't lying. Shit, send over the chicken, goddammit.
What you say? What do you say? What say you?
A lot of people speak about Royals. A lot of people talk about Walbrook.
Oh yeah. Walbrook
yeah. You know what
anytime where that dirty ass kitchen, the chicken boxes be good. You know,
nah, man. It used to be a spot.
People know what I'm talking about. The one right there in that corner.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah,
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. It used to be a spot up Cherry Hill that to me was one of the best. Ain't the same no more, but man, I would go right to Cherry Hill and get it directly from there, man. But like it would have to be one of the hood spots, man. But I had to mess with you because again, these are the certain things we talk about here in Baltimore. Who got the best food spots and
the Chinese spots? I got you. Yakimi. I never heard of Yakimi. So I came up here, Yakimi.
Mm-hmm. Shit, you probably hacking now, huh? That's how Baltimore you is now.
I've ever picked up one hack one time, one hack, a female. And I guess I'll tell this story. First moved up here. Granted, I was married now. I wasn't cheating or nothing like that.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to put that out there. Be transparent. So first week up here, and I seen somebody doing that, right? But she was like leaving from like a social security place. So I heard about the hack. I said she need a ride. So I like, I said, I'll give you a ride. So she like, very attractive woman, sister. She got in the car and she said, hey, so I need a ride somewhere. I just need to go home and just change. Can you give me a lift and I'll pay you? So I was like, sure. So I get to the place. I go inside. She says, just sit on the couch and wait. And then she came in. This chick had an ankle bracelet on, right? House arrest. And she kept and told me, I didn't supposed to leave the area. So they about to come over here and get me. This talking about they about to come over here and get me. Now I'm fresh here. I've been in Baltimore 2 weeks. Man, nigga, I jumped in my car and was gone. Cause I said, first, my wife gonna ask me, what you doing with this woman? First. Second, I didn't know how the judicial system worked here in Baltimore. So that was one of the spirits, man. I was like, I ain't gonna never do that.
That's
anymore.
funny. You damn near.
That's when I knew I wasn't in Talladega, Alabama anymore.
I was gonna say you damn near harboring a fugitive, but for those who don't know, hacking is like that. Oh Lord, we see somebody on the corner here, bottle, put their finger out. That means they ain't got enough money for the yellow cab. All right, you know what I'm saying? They
ain't got enough money for anything. Yeah,
because that's the thing. You get a hack, you be thinking, it's really for somebody trying to make a couple dollars for some gas money, maybe a little weed money, relo money, whatever your purpose is. You know what I mean? Shit could be short at the end of the month, and one person helping out another. But sometimes you get in situations where, a person be like, all I got is $10. All I got is $20, and they want you to take them all the way out of Arundel County some damn way.
They want you to go DC. Like you need. That's like you could took. If you're trying to get to DC, you could got the MARC train. You know what I'm saying? You could. That's $7. So, but Baltimore is always interesting, man. It's a cast of characters. Every day I go out, it's like a sitcom, and it helps with my comedy and my creativity. So, shout out to the city, and I don't mean to make light of serious situations, but that's comedy.
Hey man, I thought you was getting got. Anybody from Baltimore, somebody say something like, "Oh look, I gotta go get my money at the house," they be like, "Nah, click, just pull off," because they try to get you. Okay,
yeah, no doubt. They trying to get. Or they be like, man, run me to this pawn shop real quick. Then they they're like, hold up, did you just run out that house?
Oh shit.
Am I the getaway driver now? So that's how we roll, man.
Well, man, I appreciate you for coming on the platform. Again, let the people know where they can find you, where they can reach you, and check out your recent dates coming up, man.
Oh man, y'all can check me out. If you're on IG, check me out at Comedian Alabama. I put all my shows. I have a big show coming up June the 26th at the Baltimore Comedy Factory with my man Slink Johnson. You might know him as Black Jesus. I'll be there myself, and we're gonna have a couple other comedians on the plate. And hey man, y'all go out there, keep supporting comedy, keep laughing, and please, please, please don't run up on that stage.
Yeah, because he ain't small. So you're going to be sadly mistaken when you see this 6-foot John up there waiting for somebody to get his head knocked off, man.
Hey, man, they can get all this pent-up anger. I be like, they're going to get stomped and be like, I'm going to be saying stuff like, this for that girl in the 5th grade broke up with me. You're going to get all that. So,
well, with that being said, man.
Hey, I might be the one going to jail.
Lord.
That'd be the crazy part, right?
I hope not. Well, shit, when you get your jail call me for the exclusive, all right?
Okay. I'm going to call you from jail, like Tupac.
You know what I'm saying? But nah, man, it definitely was a pleasure having you on the platform. You're more than welcome to come back again, chop it up. I would love to talk to you about more, comedian type, related topics, if you're open to it moving forward. But I definitely thank you for coming on, man.
All right. Thank you, King. Appreciate you, bro.
All right. Have a good night. Talk to y'all later. We out.
Peace.
Peace.